What's up, everybody? I hope you are doing well. Today, we're going to be talking with Ryan Margolin, who is the CEO of PHL Professional Hair Labs, who makes the product that you probably know and maybe love, Ghost Bond. We're going to be talking about what's going on inside of the industry, the new products that they're creating, both inside of the hair system, hair replacement space, as well as some very interesting cosmetic stuff, even talking about like Botox replace, just fascinating stuff. You're going to love this conversation. There's new products coming out as far as the Ghost Bond line, so we're going to talk about all that. We're talking about chemical safety. You need to hear this conversation to the very end. Enjoy it. All right, Ryan, it is good to see you again. For those that have not seen the past interview that we did about 2 years ago, Ryan is the CEO. It's a CEO, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So Ryan is the CEO of PHL Pro Hair Labs, and they do amazing work with water-based adhesives. Most people know them for their product, Ghost Bond, inside of the hair replacement hair system space. How you doing today, Ryan?
I'm good, thanks, Jake. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing very well. And now I'm even better because we're talking.
Absolutely. You know, look, it's been a long time since our last conversation, and I'm sure a lot has changed. So it'll be good to get stuck in and find out what that is.
A lot has changed, I think, on both fronts here. So we'll dig into that. Had some exciting news come out on the channel regards with starting some hair system brand, but you've got a lot going on at PHL as well. Before we dig into that, which people got to stick around for that, why don't you just give us a brief summary, kind of the history of PHL, how it started, why it started, and where we're at.
Sure, yeah. So we've been in business for 25 years. The company was initially started by my father, Howard, back in 1994. Him and my mother in the past prior to that had owned hair replacement studios, and my mother had gotten chemical poisoning from the products that she was using. So it forced her into early retirement, and my dad made the decision to sell the hair replacement studios and focus on developing a product line that was safe for the technicians and, you know, the clients at the same time. So he focused on developing a water-based solution, which was different from the solvent-based solutions in the industry. And it took him quite a few years to formulate a product, a base product that was able to perform the way it needed to perform. And over the years, those adhesives developed and they became stronger and better performing due to new technology that became available. And eventually in 2009, we got to a point where we were able to launch our newest product at the time, Ghost Bond, which really revolutionized the hair replacement industry completely. It gave water-based solutions the ability to perform the same as solvent-based solutions. In a slightly different manner, but ultimately the same result. So that's kind of where the company started to gain a lot of exposure globally. It allowed us to expand and open up a European facility, which is now used to develop and formulate our products and allow us to move into different parts of not only the hair replacement industry, but the cosmetic industry in general. And that's what's led us to here.
Nice. And the cosmetic industry is a newer undertaking for PHL, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So, applying the same, principles and methodologies that we used with, safety and performance in mind, especially around the Ghost Bond brand, we're going to apply those now to this new product development process that we're working on over the next 12 months. And it will allow us to not only double our product offering, but it will also give us a stronger position in the cosmetic space where B2B companies can come in and pick off the shelf formulations, and we can make small adjustments to them because they've already been through their stability and challenge testing in-house. And we know globally, no matter where we supply them, they're suitable and fit for purpose. So it's going to be a really exciting next couple of years for us, and we're expanding quite rapidly. But really, we want to see just how much further we can penetrate the cosmetic industry with keeping the same foundations in mind that have allowed us to build relationships with our customers.
Absolutely, and we'll definitely dig into that a little bit more a little bit later in the conversation. Back to Ghost Bond, PHL, and the reason why that these were invented. We were going to talk a little bit about some of the new products and what's being offered specifically in the hair replacement space, but a lot of people that are watching this channel that are inside the hair replacement space, and they have been for many years, they do talk about the safety and the toxicity potentially of some of the products that are on the market. So without mentioning, the names of other products, but, solvent-based adhesives, can we go briefly kind of into the science as to why that might be something that is why it may be dangerous, and the reasons why people may be getting sick from both the stylist and also from the direct applier perspective?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of information in this side of the space, and ultimately, solvent-based solutions have been the most well-known and the most popular solutions in the hair replacement industry for over 40 years. And not taking away from the performance, they work, but at its base, the cutting agents used in those products are chemicals, and naturally what you're applying to the skin will absorb. So over time, there's a high chance that you'll either do damage to your health, your skin, or worse. In some cases, some of the ingredients are known carcinogenic, so they're directly related back to cancer. There's a lot that's known in the industry about those, and ultimately people have a choice to make when they find out what the ingredients of the products are. I don't think the industry will ever move away from them in total, because to be fair, there are safe ways to use them, or safer ways, should I say. But realistically, most people don't use them in the way they were intended to be used. They're never intended to come in direct contact with the skin, and we openly see them being marketed for just that. And it's tough to see, because coming from our background and what we experienced growing up, it kind of goes against the foundations of everything that we've built and what we will continue to build moving forward. So
what are those safer practices that people are not really utilizing?
There's a couple of them just off the top of my head. So I mean, typically with any solvent-based solution, you would really want something that's coming into contact with the skin that is safe, such as a tape, a medical tape. And then maybe there's an application of this solvent-based adhesive over the tape where it's not necessarily coming into contact with the skin, and it's being given room to ventilate correctly, where the person wearing the hair unit or the technician is not exposed to the chemicals in a closed environment. That's one way. The other way would be to have a certain amount of water-based solution applied to the skin and allow that time to dry, so it creates layers where the solvent-based solution can't penetrate through those layers and come in contact with the skin. It can be quite a powerful combo if used correctly, but look, realistically, no matter what way you use it, even if it's through the ways you're directed, there still are health risks, and you'll never fully resolve those.
Sure. This might be a little bit more of a new question, so I apologize for it, but I don't want to leave on any stone unturned, and questions that others might have. So when we're looking at these solvent-based adhesives, is there, at least to your knowledge, any differentiation in the potential risk from using a liquid adhesive to using a tape variant of said solvent-based adhesive? Is a tape safer to a degree?
No, it's not the tape that's safer. It's the adhesive on the tape that could potentially be safer. Mm-hmm. So where typically you look at tape at its core, usually it's a water-based solution that's applied on there. So if you're not looking at industrial tape like red liner tape, I mean that tape alone they use that in boiler rooms to see through the window when the flames are so hot and high. So if you think about the potential chemicals in that to allow that to perform the way it does, I was never a huge fan of it myself. Whereas if you do have certain other tapes, cloth tapes or medical tapes that would be much safer for use on the skin, because naturally what you apply to the skin will ultimately absorb. So you just have to be mindful when you're using tape that you're asking the right questions from the supplier. It's like, are the suppliers using their own adhesives, or are those tapes coming from a manufacturer? And if those tapes are coming from a manufacturer, why? Or no, you have to get information on the adhesive used on the tape. You've got two types of, two types of people who operate in tape. You've got individuals who just buy the tape in packets and sell it. Then you've got companies who manufacture the tape and may also convert it. But then in the middle, you've got individuals who will buy rolls of tape from a manufacturer and convert it in the middle. And if they're converting it only, they're just buying tapes from the manufacturer, so they never really truly have control over the adhesive that's used on the tapes. This is something that we're also looking at. Look, we don't manufacture tape, but we are looking at creating a Ghost Bond version of tape as well. We're hoping sometime near the end of this year, we'll have a really good foundation to move into 2023 with the aim of providing that.
Yeah, I would love to see that happen. I've been using pretty much exclusively tape over the past year and a half, just because it is a little bit easier to manage with the self. But I would love to see a Ghost Bond variant of some tape. So thank you for sharing that. And since you're already mentioning what might be coming out in the next year or so, and you're talking about rapid expansion, I reached out because I did see you post something on LinkedIn about some of the new products. So let's talk about what's new from PHL and what maybe some consumers can expect coming soon.
Yeah, so there's so many different products that we're working on developing. Some are related to the hair replacement side, and others are just more cosmetic-based, skincare, hair care, etc. Most recently, we've launched a new scented line of our Ghost Bond adhesive. We wanted to have a little bit of fun with it. Naturally, the important part of that part of the product development is that with certain ingredients, especially with with oils and stuff, it's very important to not only use oils that are sourced ethically, but that you're getting the purest form of the oil that you can. So it reduces any potential reactions. Look, I mean, for example, if one of our scents is green apple, and on the ingredients list you'll see the types of the INCI list and the ingredients that are part of that formula. But because some of those oils are essentially acidic, you want to make sure that there's the least amount of potential to have any type of breakout or reaction from it, which is why we always recommend the patch test. But through our testing, we have found that not to be the case at all with any of them. The levels that we use are well under 1%, and they just add a really nice scent to it. So even and the beauty about it is when it dries, under the hair unit, you're not walking around with the scent of the product, whether it's green apple, watermelon, coconut, rose, peach. You're not walking around smelling like that. It's really when you're applying it and you can smell it while you're using it. It's very pleasant. So
these scented Ghost Bonds are more of a service to the appliers than they are to the ones that are wearing it?
Well, a bit of both. I mean, look, ultimately you have hair replacement studios that service their clients, but you do have, individuals who are applying, even wigs at home for fun, just to change it up on a daily basis. So it kind of caters to both markets. What we're finding at the moment, we've only launched them in the last few months, but what we're finding at the moment is the B2C space is a much more, we'd be more focused on that area with these products, because they're providing the same solution, but there's just a little different spin on it.
Sure. Is there, as people are starting to wear the adhesives for a little bit longer, an issue that can come up, right, is some unpleasant scent coming from someone's own body odor, sweat, all these things. Have you seen that these scented Ghost Bonds are preventing or counteracting that in any way?
100%. And, look, it's naturally the whole purpose of Ghost Bond is that when it dries and it completely cures, that it's water and oil resistant. But look, in some cases, in a few cases, there is still some oils and sweat that does penetrate the bond, and it does cause an odor. But this has actually helped with that. We sell an odor eliminator called Eliminate, and the technology that we use inside of that formula, it operates in a much different way than most odor eliminators do. But this, the Ghost Bond scented adhesives have actually helped a lot with reducing it even further. So for example, right, where let's say 10 years ago when we launched our Eliminate product, the ingredient that we were using and the type of process that it followed was, if you have an odor on your scalp and you sprayed this or misted over the scalp, the way the ingredient performed was that it would latch on to the odors in the air surrounding it, and it would explode it like into a million tiny pieces, and that's the method that it would use to disperse the odor. Whereas this one, it's a little bit different. It actually goes in and it grabs it, and it encompasses the odor and it pulls it to the ground. So when you're pulling it down, it doesn't stay on the clothes. It rolls off in little balls. They're microscopic. You don't even see them. But it actually pulls the odor to the ground, so that you're left with no remnants of anything. So the Ghost Bond adhesive has really complemented this product with reducing any odors.
I'd love to partner with you and try like a full just like a suite of products and kind of like a protocol, because one of the things that we see inside of this space, and I'm not saying that this is going on for professional hair labs, but there's a lot of products including hair systems, but skin protectors, odor eliminators, all these things, and when left up to the client or just someone that's perusing, right, trying to figure it all out, it can be a lot of cognitive load to process, figure out how the right sequence, what to buy, when to buy, all these things. And I'd love to create kind of like a couple different protocols, or like walk people through it in video and show them what their options are for first safety reasons, but also for odor elimination. pH balance. We've talked about this stuff in the past, which if you briefly want to touch on, that would be awesome, because a lot of people don't talk about that science, which I found it very enlightening last time.
Yeah, and look, I think that's the key to all of it. Really, is retaining the pH balance of the skin. Naturally, once you trigger once you trigger the sebaceous glands and you throw off the pH balance, it has to rebalance. So when you apply your adhesive, it's going straight. The new oils are penetrating straight up into the adhesive before it's given a chance to dry. So using products that on the skin that will retain your pH balance, they're key. And look, we have the 7-step process that we've developed called the science of full head bonding. And the truth of the matter is, that's what we've found scientifically that has produced the best results. But when it really comes down to it, a lot of clients might only use 3 products out of that 7 steps and get the ultimate performance that suits them. We have other clients that might use 5, or sometimes we might have a client that uses 2. It really depends. And this is the beauty about body chemistry, is that sometimes you might find something that has trouble working, but then there's always a secondary product that will solve that problem for you. And that's what we continue to work on, is developing new solutions for new problems, that we find.
Yeah, good stuff for sure. So, before we talk a little bit about the cosmetic products that are going to be coming out, I'd love to hear a little bit more about it. Anything else in terms of the hair replacement stuff that you are aware of that we can expect?
Yeah, look, we'll continue to improve our own core product line. Look, every single year there's new directives, and look, we follow, when we formulate and develop our products, we follow EU regulations. We don't tend to follow US regulations because they're not as strict and they're not as stringent. So we know if we follow the EU guidelines, no matter where we supply the products to, they're going to be as safe as they possibly can be. So every year, we go back, we review the ingredients, we make sure there's no new test available or information that might prove that either the products are not as environmentally friendly as they could be, or they're not as high performing as they could be. So we're always on the cutting edge of that, and our products do change from time to time when we find solutions, or we find challenges that we have to overcome in relation to those. But from a hair replacement perspective, it's just really the new adhesives and the adhesive pen that we've launched. There's many different variations that you can go with, but we don't want to get lost in that. Really, what's key for us is that every single year when we continue to do our testing and our development, we try to find ways to improve the temperature resistance of the adhesives. As a water-based solution, that's really one of the key focuses for us, because where we might have it being able to being able to stand up to heats of 110 degrees Fahrenheit, in some countries. We could find that in other countries or other states, for example. You might find that temperature paired with the humidity might be the key factors why it's not holding. So we're always looking for angles to improve and new technology to improve those heat parameters.
So going to come back to the adhesive pen, because I'm not actually aware of that, but as far as what improvements have you seen in the product line as far as like those temperature resistant adhesives? Is it going up? Are we talking about by like fractions of a Fahrenheit degree? Or are we going up? Like how is that going?
Last year we got 5 out of our Platinum and Supreme. So yeah, we were able to, increase it by, 5 degrees, which is huge.
Yeah.
Now I wouldn't expect that every year. Typically we would aim for half or 1, 1 degree. But, last year when that happened for us, we were really happy with that. And that's allowed us to provide stronger solutions in different parts of the world as well. I mean, you talk at some of the, the climates that have extremely, hot weather, like, Dubai or India, Pakistan. We've had much more success with those products there.
That's fantastic. Awesome. So let's wrap up. Talk a little bit about the the cosmetic offerings that you're going to be putting on the market.
Yeah. So look, there's a whole range of different products. What we're doing is we're trying to push the boundaries of cosmetic innovation by using raw materials and active ingredients that are a little bit left of center. So for example, at the moment where one of the formulas we're working on is it's a skincare product that works like a Botox effect without Botox, and the active ingredient is actually bee venom. And one of the key things for us is that we want to make sure that the ingredients that we're using in our products are ethically sourced, and there's no animals harmed or tested in the making of this. So the bee venom that we're working with, typically what it does is that there's collectives of hives that have small little currents that run through them, and what they do is they engage with the bee to extract some of the venom, but it doesn't remove the stinger, nor does it kill them. So it's only a very small, minute amount, and obviously that builds up over an amount of time. And while it's an extremely expensive active ingredient, it performs very well. So we're actually working on putting that into a serum and a skin cream, and seeing how that works. So over the next couple of months, we should have some really good studies and results done with them, because we have the backing of how it's sourced, and we're happy how it's sourced, and we're comfortable with the fact that it's as ethical as possible. And that's going to be one of the premium products we're bringing to the market. Another one we're working on is utilizing snail secretion as an active ingredient to protect the skin, to put a barrier on the skin. So we would have a repair gel cream where it's clinically proven to repair the skin cells and repair the skin. But then in certain climates like here, even in Ireland, where it's very cold, you need a barrier on your skin to protect it from the elements. And if you can get over the fact that you're putting snail secretion on your skin, it's a really, really good product. I've been using it myself for some time, and I'm just really impressed with the way it performs. So we're just in the final processes of bringing that out of challenge testing and stability testing. And once that's done, we will start to engage with our with our test demographics and getting some feedback from them.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see those products on the market. I also, if we're ever looking for some product testing or some reviews on that stuff, I'd love to participate, because that's skincare has also been a big part of my journey in the past year and a half or so. So all this stuff is fascinating. I want to thank you so much for sharing some of the stuff that's coming and what is going on with PHL and what you've been up to for the past 2 years. Hopefully there's room for partnership in the future. And any closing thoughts for our people?
No, look, I would just say, look, as time goes on, people are becoming more aware of what they're using on their skin. And I think it should be that way. And what I would like to say is that, especially when it comes to the adhesives, ask the questions, look at the ingredients, do a bit of study on it, because ultimately you're applying it direct to skin. And it's important that you know what's going on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Ryan. And thank you everyone for watching.